That's my shawty, that's my shawty, that's my girl. I like the way she whine on me when she twerk.
3, 2, 1. Welcome
Welcome
to
to Up
Yeah.
We are so delighted to have a very special guest today, Sabrina. She is a fellow classmate, a great designer, and even more so, she is the director of A&E. So we are very excited to have you here. So Jubilee, we should just go around and kind of let's give a rose and thorn. Let's do that to start off.
Cool. Should
I
I
want you to go
start?
first. Yeah.
Okay. Wait, a rose and a thorn.
Yes.
Okay. I would say my thorn. I'll start with the bad stuff. So the thorn is that. Yeah, well, earlier in quarantine, my grandpa got into a car accident, and thankfully he's fine. Sorry, that was like extreme. Okay. But it's been hard to not see my grandparents because of COVID, and they're in and out of the hospital just for physical therapy. He's okay, like thankfully recovering well. Just had like minor back pain, but yeah, when we visit them, we literally just we sit outside on their porch, but it's still like that we get to see them, but it's been hard. And then communicating with, just my grandparents has been hard. But my rose is that I started a Korean drama and I started Itaewon class and it's so good. And that's been like my main source of entertainment for the last week. So that's my rose. Yeah.
I feel like I've been also sucked into a new like TV show too, which I would say I think that's my. I don't know if it's necessarily a rose. Like it kind of drives me crazy, like watching this show. Like I need to know what happens next, and so then like I don't do shit. You know what I mean? Like I'm just watching Netflix all day.
What was it?
Money Heist.
Oh, I've heard good things.
Yeah. So I guess my thorn would be like I've just been very unmotivated to do anything, you know, which is a very like I guess first world problem in a way, right? Like I have the luxury to not do anything. But I will say a rose is I like planted grass seeds in my yard, and it's finally like really coming up, and so that's been very satisfying to watch. Yes. Sabrina.
I don't know. What is my thorn band? I mean, honestly, probably in the similar vein, like this quarter just hasn't felt real at all. And the fact that it's week 8 is like absolutely perplexing to me. Like I have no idea how that's happening. So I think it's just like not being able to enjoy spring. Like, I don't know. I'm sure that's also like a very first world problem. I'm like, like I have to stay at home and like not see my friends and blah, blah. But yeah, but my rose is that I'm coming back in like a week and a half-ish.
Oh.
I'm really excited. I'm going to spend the summer there, so I think it'll be really nice and just be able to safely see other people while wearing face masks. It's going to be nice.
Yeah. Are you going to be staying at where you've been staying? Like.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm going to be in my house, and I'm staying there next year too, so.
Oh my gosh, that's exciting.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for sharing. I want to ask just for our, illustrious viewers, all the people out there who are watching. Could you talk a little bit about like who you are? So maybe like where you're from, what you're studying, and kind of I don't know, fun facts about yourself.
Fun facts. Okay.
That's a hard.
So yeah, I'm sitting in my high school bedroom right now, which is just the best environment to be in. But so I'm from Wenatchee, which is, like central Washington. It's like right smack dab in the middle of the state. I think like, I'm trying to decide what to talk about. It's very beautiful here, like naturally beautiful. There's like a lot of geographical features. Like there's a mountain that's like very close behind my house and like farms behind me and like 2 rivers that flow through Wenatchee, lots of orchards and stuff. So it's like very beautiful, but it is a very like, once you get past the eastern side of the state, it's like a pretty conservative and like red part of the, like just the population. And so Wenatchee is In the city, it's 70% white and 30% Hispanic, and then just like me like chilling in the background. I actually looked up the demographics the other day because I'm writing a research paper in one of my classes on like the effects of assimilation on Latinx immigrants and like substance abuse, which has been really interesting. So yeah, and then I like found in our school district like demographics, I think Wenatchee has like 10 Asian people in the school district. So yeah. So I don't know, I think like in terms of that, like that was a really interesting piece of my identity. And I remember like getting to, well, I was in Key Club in high school, which is very funny because I didn't know that was like a notorious thing at all. And I remember going to my first district convention and I was like genuinely, that was the first time I'd like ever been around that many Asian kids my age, and I was like shocked. It was so weird to get like to see so many variations of an Asian face. I was
literally like my high school, we didn't have a Key Club, but like every other high school had one, and I was like, damn, like I would definitely be a part of that.
Yeah.
No,
it's like, you know, it has some good morals. I know it's like not, it gets sometimes a bad rep, but
right.
I was a secretary for my Key Club, and I also went to a predominantly white school, and I didn't even know it was like, yeah, an Asian-ish thing until I came to college, and then I see all the memes about it.
I know. Yeah, but I think if not for like having been in Key Club in high school, like I would have never really experienced being around a lot of Asian people. But yeah, like if I hadn't and then coming to UW, I would have just been like shell shocked. But even then, like it was still a very interesting experience, and like experiencing people who are like really a part of like who are really passionate about like their cultural RSOs and like stuff like that was like pretty crazy to me. Like really cool, but definitely not something that I really connected with until like getting to take, I think, like diversity classes and whatnot. But so yeah, I'm an interaction design major, and I think like trying to decide if I want to do the diversity minor, but just in general, like trying to take a lot of classes that I hope will like inform like the audiences that I want to work with in the future. So I'm taking Intro to Disability Studies right now with Clarence and a global mental health seminar, and then I'm in like a directed research group right now that's about like thinking about re-enchantment and like how capitalism and like colonization has taken away a lot of like enchantment techniques in the world. It's been like very out there, and we read a lot of translated French stuff, and I'm like, I'm not compute.
Yeah.
That's such a cool workflow though. I feel like you're like dipping into so many different things, and then I think as a designer it's so important to be knowledgeable of the people that you're trying to serve. And honestly, I think we need more of that in the design community for sure.
True.
Yeah. I always felt like those are the type of classes that are, you know, like the most beneficial to like you as a person.
Yeah.
The ones that like really just open your eyes to like. Yeah.
Oh no.
No, we lost you.
Oh. Wait.
I'm back.
Okay, you're back. You're back.
Wenatchee Wi-Fi, you can only have one on at a time, so someone else must have popped on.
I guess where were we? I guess we're just talking about like the classes that you're taking. And, yeah. Yeah. So you are in interaction design, and you know, I'm thinking back to when we were, you know, deciding our tracks in design, and like I personally chose visual communication because I felt like that was something that I really wanted to be best at, like just like the fundamental kind of typography or composition, like those type of things. And also because like I felt like I was kind of bad at it, you know, so I was like, I feel like that's probably where I can learn the most. But you know, why did you choose the interaction track?
Yeah, so I think the main reason was because, I can't tell if I'm lagging a little bit. The main reason was because I really enjoyed like research the most out of the classes that we had taken so far, and I think that's definitely where I want like my future to be looking forward. I definitely don't love designing screens, which I know is like really typically like what interaction designers like go end up doing. So that was really the main part of it. Like I was really interested in getting the opportunity to take more classes where like my job would be to like research different communities and like understand how to design for them. Also, like completely honestly, it was the one that had the most like space in the schedule, and I knew that I wanted to take a lot of like electives, like the ones that I'm really lucky to take now. And given the fact that I was wanting to continue being involved in like A&E as well, like I was like, I feel like I might not have time for this course load with VCD, because that's also what I was thinking about, and interaction design, and it's been really nice. So I think I definitely do miss like I think probably just outside now, but I miss like producing a lot of deliverables and then like just like pushing myself, because I definitely think that's something that I don't have a huge strength in. But yeah, I like what I'm doing.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it kind of makes sense too, like with the classes that you're taking additionally, like all of it's kind of being like very informative and like, especially it's helpful for that research phase. What about you, Julie?
I mean, I'm kind of on the same boat as Clarence. I was pretty split between the two because we had a class as a collective cohort called Design Methods, and I felt really strongly about just like the curriculum of that class, and yeah, I really enjoyed the research portion of that. But I think the thing that was missing from VCD was like the interacting with people or feeling like you're having a stronger impact or like a tangible impact, I guess. And I honestly still struggle with that now, because it is like, is this poster gonna actually people's lives, you know?
Yeah.
But it's good that we do have opportunities. Like right now, Clarence and I are in an interface class, so we do get to interact like a little bit with some more IC oriented things. But yeah, I did want to solidify like my formal skills, because I just had a pretty weak background in all my skills, and like I just didn't like experience that much with like Illustrator, Photoshop, things like that. So I thought I'd want to pursue an education in that. But I also like really like the professors too for VCD.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, me too. I mean, I think like a lot of it was just like you get to make really cool things, and that's like primarily what I was looking at a lot of the time, is just like all these kind of cool posters, which is like now I guess, you know, in a way it's like sort of limiting too, right? Like it's not, I don't want to be like, oh, I just make posters, or you know, like that's all I do. I make logos. Yeah, I mean, yeah. So it's been interesting for sure. Sometimes I still think like, did I choose the right thing?
Yeah.
I remember a guy from Industrial came up to me, and we hadn't seen each other in a while, and he was like, so like, what are y'all making, like a poster for 10 weeks? And I was like,
He was like,
What are you, a graphic designer? I'm like, a visual designer, okay?
Take that.
I feel like hella people, like, yeah, I've had that conversation before where they're like, so you're studying graphic design? And I'm like, yeah, like, technically it's called visual communication design, but yeah. And they're like, yeah, so graphic design. And I'm like, yeah, I mean, like, it's included in that. But yeah, go back and forth, and it's awkward, but
it's really interesting to me that graphic design has like, for some reason, like not a great rep in like I think I've seen like a really short clip on how people are like, oh, like I'm like a graphic design major. I guess it's kind of how like UW uses like comm majors, or like it used to before they made it harder to get into comm too. But like I don't know why it has that bad rap. It doesn't make any sense to me.
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of people just think that's very like a very surface level type of like job or role, you know.
And some people, I think it is like the way that some people approach it. I think what these classes have taught me is that if you want to do something aesthetically, you need to justify it. Which honestly, going into the design program, I didn't really have that mindset. But yeah, there's always jokes about like graphic designers becoming baristas, and that's it. That's all I do. So yeah. For sure.
I mean, I was trying to become a barista for a while, so
yeah. He's like,
Yeah. But I when I was thinking about like design in general too, like I always think about when you're growing up, like were you like the sort of artsy kid kind of growing up, or like do you think like you had that in you, or was it something that you kind of learned that you enjoyed in college or something?
Yeah. Okay. Yes, I do remember this. I would definitely say like growing up, I was like not really artsy. Like, I did piano lessons and because my parents and whatnot gotta like fit the tropes. But I like did that, and I did dance when I was younger as well, which my parents definitely put me into because I didn't want to exercise any other way. But I don't think that I like really ever thought of myself as like super creative, and I think it's because like in high school, like I don't know, I was always naturally fairly inclined to like math, and I was like pretty like stick in the mud, I think, for a lot of time. The first like creative thing that I ever really did was like joining my school newspaper, and so I started out as a reporter, and it was like really enjoyable. I got to tell the story of my high school's mariachi program, which is like just dope, and like I don't think a lot of high schools can say that they have like a really good mariachi program, and so like it was just really cool getting to tell their stories because they're like a pretty overlooked like part of our high school, so that was really cool. And then I got to do page layout as well, and that I just like didn't think I was gonna like something that much. Like I dove headfirst into InDesign. Like that was the first Adobe app that I learned, and like definitely I think up until like very recently was like the one that I was the best at. So I just like did that, and I think even looking back now, I like can see how that beginning is pretty similar to interaction design, even though it like seems very visual. Like just a lot of like the thinking, I guess, of like how am I going to make sure that someone like actually reads this, like what's going to like draw their eye, and like what is the most important information, like what do people want to know. So it's really cool to look back on that. And yeah, I think before that I wouldn't have really ever thought of myself as pursuing something creative, and even like taking 166 for design I like wouldn't have done that unless I'd been like, oh, what is that?
Is that fruit?
It's like a cake. Oh, it's pound cake.
Oh my god. This is so good.
I'm sorry. Marky, you need to knock on the door. Sorry. You were in the middle of talking about your high school and
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh yeah, but I probably wouldn't have even taken the intro to design class if like I hadn't been pushed and like shown that design could be something very different than just visuals. And then once I did take it, like I really enjoyed the process of critique, and like it kind of killed me at first because I used to just like cry like consistently when someone like gave me critique on stuff that I had done, because I think I took it really personally. And I think that that's a reason that like design as a major is something that I feel really grateful for, because I think it's like an education that like not a lot of people can get, because I think it does really focus on personal growth as well. So yeah.
wow, wait, that's a really nice way to put it. I never really like thought about it that way, you know. That's funny too, because I think I also did take crit like very personally for a while, you know, and like especially when I would get bad crit and if someone else would get good crit, and I'm just like, oh, okay. It was just like, wow, really, you know. I'd be like, their stuff is not even that cool anyways, or whatever, you know. But yeah. What about you, Julie?
I mean, you're right, because in design it requires you to have like a huge level of vulnerability, because you are like literally putting up your work of a class of like 20 people. And I also really appreciate how it's taught me how to like communicate with others and how to find when you're critiquing, because that takes a lot of skills as well. Like, you know, I'm sure all of us have experienced someone like saying something not in the best way, because there's that, like, I think crit also is learning how to say something well and receiving well. That's one. And yeah, being professional as well. I think that. I feel like I'm still working on like receiving credit, because I think for certain projects definitely I feel very like married to it, so it's like your baby. But yeah, I really appreciate the critiquing culture in our program for sure.
Yeah, I'm still like trying to work on giving critique though too, like to be able to absorb everything that someone's trying to say, you know, and like package it in a good way that's constructive. Like probably one of the hardest things for me to do. Not that I'm an asshole, it's just like I don't really know, like I'm not confident in what I'm saying sometimes, you know, so like I'm afraid to say it.
I definitely feel like people who are very eloquent, like that's such a gift, but also is kind of, you know, rooted in like I don't know, like nativism, like having to be good at like a language. But I think it's like really special when people are able to like really be very clear and concise about what they want to say, because I will like start at a point and just like and like never be able to like actually try to say what I'm going to. So I definitely, it's something that I respect.
And I think the funniest thing is like when you're done saying whatever you're saying, and then you're like, "Does that make sense?" You're like, yeah.
I don't know how to transition after a statement or a question. I'm like, so
Yeah.
That's funny. Yeah, so I guess like, you know, we've gotten to like sort of this talking about design in college now. But another big part of what you're doing at UW is, you know, you're in A&E, and I really want to know like what, or I guess like how you got like how you became active within A&E, and then sort of like what led you to want to become director. But
Yeah, for sure. Okay, I will try to make this clear and concise in the interest of time. I think like, so A&E was one of the first like communities that I found at UW because of Fall Fling, which is the concert that we throw every fall to like welcome freshmen back. It's part of like Dog Days, which is the programming for freshmen. And I don't know, I really wanted to work in the music industry when I was graduating high school. I don't really know where that came from. I was like very into music and just like the fact that it can bring people together from like a really diverse background. Like I had a lot of internet friends in my fandom days, and I think like but I think like that was always something that was really interesting to me. And because I think I'm someone who does tend to have like more of an administrative mind sometimes, like I knew that I wanted to get involved in like the behind the scenes of it. So yeah, I walked into the A&E office like during Dog Days, and I asked them if I could be involved, and the volunteer team was like fairly like scrappy at the time. Like there was not really like a structure at all, and like they didn't really know what to do with us, but it was really enjoyable. And then like getting more involved, like I got to help research like artists for spring show and like where they were routing through, like how much they might be, like who their agents were. And I think I just realized that I really liked it. And then I got to be the junior marketing coordinator last year, which is I'm the only person who's ever held that position because they made it for 1 year and then they got rid of it. So, you know, I have a #1 junior marketing coordinator plaque. I'm very proud of it.
The best to ever do it, right?
Best to ever. So yeah, that was really enjoyable too. I think last year's team was also really special. Like the people on it definitely are some of the people I think who that I've come across in my life who just like are like so put together. Like it's insane. I think looking at Perry and Aiden and all of them, and just like being like I'm the same age as they were when we first met, and I'm like so. So it's just really cool. Like they, I think, are just very like wise people. So I'm really glad that I had an excuse to be their friend. And then now, like being director, it's been very interesting. I think like our team is made up of people who like have very different like working styles and like communication styles. And so it's been really interesting like leading them. And I think, to be candid, like I haven't been in a leadership position since like high school, and so like getting to like dust that off again and like try to remember what it's like to like be in charge of people and like delegate to them, because I think like design very much is like, oh, like you're in a team but you're like very much equals, and so being in charge of people again is like it was like quite an exercise. But it's really nice. Like obviously spring didn't go how we thought it was going to be. Actually last Friday was supposed to be a spring show, so RIP, pour one out. But
do you have any like people in mind that you wanted to invite for spring?
We actually hadn't gotten that far yet, because like I think A&E's biggest secret, like best kept secret, is that like everything is like just on the verge of falling apart, like consistent, like always, just because of the entertainment industry. So yeah, we actually hadn't had anyone lined up because like the people UW had to stay or to go online like March 6th or something, which is like fairly far out from spring show. So yeah, we did not have anyone yet.
I guess the question would be like, who would you want to see, or who would you have wanted to invite?
Yeah, so I really, really wanted to have a woman of color headliner for Fall Fling as well as Spring Show. Didn't work out for Fall Flings because, like, listen, they know how much they're worth, and I commend them, but like, we don't have that much money. So, so I don't know who would have ended up getting. I really wanted to see like Ravina was someone I really wanted. Yeah, I can't remember who else. Dominic Fike, someone I wanted. He's probably too expensive now, but. Yeah.
Megan the Stallion.
Stallion.
I would cry.
That would be crazy.
On the hub lawn.
Dude, I feel like it would be really fun though, like as a musician. Like even though you have a big rate, let's say you do, right? And then, but you do like smaller shows at like, you're just like, you know what, fuck it, let's do it.
Yeah, like I feel like it'd be so fun to go back to a college show. Like it's such a small venue, but I'm sure it's awkward like when you're used to playing for like arenas of like really excited people, and then it's like some frat bros that are like.
I think it's even more weird like when you can see everyone's individual faces.
Yeah.
Because I'm thinking about like when Pusha T was playing, and like he was singing the song from his duo Clips. And he was like, if you know the words, like, rap along. But, like, no one knew the words. And he was like, all right, that's fine. And he moved on to the next song.
Dude, that was such a good show.
That was a good
That
job.
was such a good spring fling.
Yeah. When we talked to Lyle last week for our last show, like, he talked about how, I mean, I guess we talked about it too, but, like, just the idea that Fall Fling was a huge, like thing that attracted us to, I guess, like college, like the experience itself, and then just like A&E and just music in general, you know, like you're like, wow, this is like what it's like to be at UW or something, you know?
Yeah, for sure. I think that's actually something that we like pretty specifically keep in mind too when we're planning Fall Fling, because it's like, okay, who would these freshmen be like, oh my god, I can't believe I get to go to college and like see these people. So I'm glad that came across.
Yeah.
My freshman year, they had Tinashe. Like that's
Yeah.
Yeah, they're pretty like ahead of they're always kind of like right before they like.
Yeah. That is always that's the goal. Like we had No Name, right? Like my freshman year, and like that was pretty insane.
Yeah. So good. I was gonna ask another question, but I just forgot. I was like, I'm on a roll.
Well, I have a question. So you mentioned that after high school, you wanted to go into the music industry, but obviously, like things change over time. Do you see? Because we're nearing graduation. Well, we still have a year left. But do you think that you know what you want to do after college or career-wise?
Yeah, that's actually been a question that I've been thinking about again for the first time in a while. Like I was pretty sure about the future that I wanted probably like a year. Time's not real, but I was like fairly sure that I knew what I wanted, and then I think it like has started to change a little bit, but I don't really know what it's changing to. But yeah, so I really wanted to after I realized that I didn't want to work in the music industry, I think I just like understood that it wasn't really where I wanted to spend my time, and I wanted to like make a bigger impact, which is apparently something that's like fairly rare to like millennials and like Gen Z, is like wanting to make an impact with their careers. But I think I like really wanted to work for like either a governmental organization or like an NGO or like some group that like had a lot of influence over like people's lives, doing like design research of some kind. I think specifically regarding like a lot of American federal like social support systems, like they're whack and they don't work. And it feels like when you look at like the operating, like the like instructions or whatever for them, it feels like each, like one person took like one section of like each thing, and like none of it makes any sense. So it just like, I think to me seemed like something that I wanted to undertake in terms of like trying to start over and like make things make sense again. But I don't know if it's because of like COVID and like seeing how bad everything is going, I've been like really fucked up, or if it's just like, I don't know, it is hard to, I think, like keep the motivation for trying to overturn like very old oppressive systems. Like obviously I think people are gonna have to do it, and I think that with COVID a lot of people are definitely turning to that school of thought more as well, like that we do need to like kind of get rid of these, because like we can't keep living like this, like people are not doing well. But yeah, I don't know, I don't know where I'm wavering to in terms of a new direction. I think it'll probably still be something like in that realm, and maybe it'll be the exact same thing, but also it might just be that I'm in my high school bedroom again, like the brainwaves are like, whoa.
I super feel that, like, because I'm in my childhood room too, and I don't know, it just feels, yeah, like I'm in high school again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think, especially what you talked about with COVID, like it really is revealing injustices that have already been in place for years. And it sucks that it's had to come to this for people to realize those things, but it is like a reality check that a lot of us needed. And then yeah, working with like nonprofits, that sounds really cool too. And it's like definitely very needed for in like the design realm, I think.
Yeah, there's always so much like big tech representation, and I'm like, I mean, you know, I'm going to be spending my summer doing that, but I don't really like, I don't know, it's not like the most appealing thing, and I would like to think that I picked somewhere that like isn't, you know, it's not Amazon, so.
Yeah. Wait, so I guess with COVID and everything, like how has, like you mentioned like being back in your high school bedroom, but in addition to that, like how has everything been, you know, just being home again and for you like mentally and all that?
Yeah, I mean, I think like I saw something on like subtle Asian traits, I'm sure, that was like like I don't know, like Asian kids have been like preparing, like Asian Americans have been like preparing for like lockdown our whole lives. Like honestly, this feels exactly like high school. Like I'm not allowed to like leave and like see anyone. Like I'm like, yeah, definitely, I think like not as hard to get used to as like I'm sure it was for a lot of people. I like think I hit like a breaking point like a month and a half in, where I was like really going crazy, and then it just kind of plateaued, which was scary in its own way, because I was kind of like not necessarily content about being here, but I like kind of like fell into a rhythm, and it's been really strange because I feel like right before like quarantine I was really like establishing like a routine for myself, and I was feeling like very independent, and like I would start every morning like when I woke up early enough to like make breakfast and lunch, and that was like such a grounding time, I think. And like now I'm like, Mom, like when are we having dinner? And I just like walk upstairs and it's like made, you know. But yeah, I think it's been weird. I just like haven't been wanting to feel stagnant, which I think is like just like never something that I want to like fall into that state of. But it is really beautiful, and like I haven't been home at this time of year in a long time, and I have like a pretty insane backyard. Like my parents are actually both molecular biologists, and so they're like plant specifically biologists as well. So we have a lot of like fruit trees in our backyard, and like so my dad planted the tomatoes recently, and then like our apricot and Asian pear and like cherry, like all of those trees are like persimmon, like all those trees are blooming. Yeah, it's kind of crazy. And like grapes, our raspberries and blueberries are gonna come in at the end of this month apparently. Like
so
my
parents,
yeah, no, for real, like they could definitely survive off the backyard. And like my dad has like a little like rideable lawnmower that he drives around our backyard, and he's like it's really cute.
That's crazy. We like my mom's growing like blueberries, but they're not looking great so far. So. That's insane.
Asian pears are so good.
So good. I can't believe that European pears exist.
Asian pears be expensive too, so that's so nice that you have like easy access.
Yeah. Oh, nice. Very blessed.
So wait. So your parents are, what?
Oh my God.
Molecular.
Yeah.
biology?
Molecular biologists. Yeah, so they this is also something that I didn't realize was like not the most common narrative for a lot of Asian Americans, but so they met in undergraduate school, I think, in China. They also have a like crazy story, but they met in undergrad, and then they decided to move to America, and they both had, I think, already had masters at that point, and so they came to University of Arizona, which is where I was born, and my dad got his doctorate, and my mom got like another master's, because you know how America like refuses to acknowledge, like, you know, so yeah, so my mom had to do that. So yeah, they like, and I didn't know that that wasn't like a very common like narrative for a lot of Asian Americans. Like I thought that like higher education is what brought a lot of people here, and I think that just like really shows, like, I did not understand that there's such like a plethora of experiences within Asian American, like, yeah, that was crazy.
Dude, they're so educated.
Insane. Like, and I didn't realize, like, you know, when you like apply for scholarships and like FAFSA, and it's like what like education level like did your parents receive, and I was always like, part of me was like, oh, it's like they're like the most, like, that's kind of cool. Like, take that off. But yeah,
So they settled in Wenatchee then, and it's like probably because of their field of work, right?
Yeah. So my dad works for the USDA doing like tree fruit research. He like runs a lab. I don't know what he's working on anymore, but at one point he wanted me to like proofread a report that was about like if markers for genetic root disease in apple trees like stays in the soil after like that crop of trees has been taken out, and I was like, I like don't understand this, but I will try to like yeah. And then my mom used to work at the same branch, and now she works for our local community college, and she like preps she's like the technician for all the life sciences labs, and I think she really likes it because she gets to like interact with more people, which is nice.
Oh, that's nice. Yeah. So I guess you didn't have any interest in being a biologist?
Yeah, I don't know. Like, as much as I was like, I liked and I was like fairly good at math, like science was just like, I don't know. I could never really get into it. I think that people who are like good at science are like amazing.
Yeah.
I understand how people can do it. Like it's like being immersed in like a new world, like every single time you change subjects, and like you have to learn all the different rules and like understand how all the systems work and stuff. Yeah, but the other day, one of my best friends from home was like, so you kind of ended up doing what your parents do, like research, but you're just like in design instead of like science. And I was like, oh my God.
That's crazy. Yeah, because I always felt like I wasn't good at science either. So like, I don't know. Like my mom was pretty artistic, so I think that's where I get a lot of it from. But yeah, wow. Thanks for sharing about that. Yeah, personal thing. Jubilee.
Oh, what?
It's your cue.
For a song of the week?
No. Well, I mean, we have like 10 minutes till 9, so we can keep going.
Well, one question that I had that relates to the design experience, and then you didn't share this, but I know that you were a foster student before going into design. For those of you that don't know what foster is, it's a business program. But yeah, both design and like the business program are like quite competitive environments. And like I know that we've talked about this before, but have you experienced imposter syndrome during your past couple of years? And if so, how have you learned to like cope with it and move forward? Because it can be like a pretty, I don't know, a quite big barrier when it comes to like succeeding and even like challenging yourself too. So that's my question. I transition. Imposter syndrome, like so much. Getting into foster, I had zero idea that it was that competitive, and I think like that also made it harder to leave because I like didn't want to seem ungrateful, and like but I had absolutely no idea what business was. I didn't do like DECA or FBLA in high school, and I fully just like checked that box when I was applying because I thought that I like didn't know what foster was, and I thought that the business school would have ties to like music industry business,
doesn't, it's like just capitalism. So, like, and then I think when I found design as well, like I said, I never really thought of myself as like someone that was super creative. And like, dude, 166, I first of all am terrible at like photography, and especially like I just like didn't understand what they were asking us to do for the first project. So like after that, I knew I wasn't getting through the class, which is like one way to get into the program. And so I kind of just like focused on learning as much as I could and like really failing. And I think that that is the main reason that I was able to get in, is because I was just like, okay, well, I'm already not gonna get in through the class, so I don't really care if I have bad grades, I think I'll just go for it. And then yeah, once we got into the program, like one of my really good friends tried for the program and didn't make it. And I think like in my eyes, like she's much like better, at least in terms of visual design, like I think much better than I am. And so that was really confusing and made me feel like I somehow like snuck in when they weren't watching. But yeah, I remember specifically for color and comp, which was like our fall quarter class, like project one, which is like, I think that was one, like the point line plane thing. I genuinely like called my mom and I just like cried. I was like, I don't know what to do for this project. I like don't understand what they want. And yeah, I don't know, like I think part of me definitely like wishes that I would have stayed in visual design and just like push myself and like continue doing that and like to just like continue failing. But yeah, I don't know, I think imposter syndrome is something that like will always be there in my head, at least, even if it like is dormant for a little bit. Like I think it'll just come back up like whenever you're feeling insecure. And I think it's really interesting to be able to like name imposter syndrome, because like I think it is just part of like insecurity and like self-doubt as a whole, but it's such like a common like experience for so many people that we have like such a specific name for it, because it's like in the workplace and whatnot. And I'm sure like this summer I'll probably feel it as well. And I don't know, I think like the only tips that I have is like, so when I used to play cello, when I was like in middle and high school, I also just like, you know how like you have high school friends and they like went through like all of grade school with you, and you forget that like your college friends don't like know all the weird like things that you used to do. So like the other day I said that I played cello to someone and they were like, what? I'm sorry. Like what the fuck?
What did you say?
But yeah, so when I played cello, like, and I had to do solos and stuff, I just like would tell myself I wasn't nervous, and then at a certain point it just like worked. I don't know how that happened. Wouldn't recommend, because I don't know how to make it happen. But I think that I just like try to do the same thing and just like try to lean into the idea that like people are really less scary than you think they are, which I think is like one of the main takeaways that I got from like the people that are like a little bit older than me in the creative scene, like Human Condition, like the crew behind that and whatnot, is like I think people seem scary, but they're always like more willing to help you. And so that's just like something that I try to keep in mind. But it definitely doesn't work all the time. So if I figure out a way to beat it, for sure, I will gladly share.
Yeah, it's funny because we had a guest speaker for our class today, and she was just, someone asked her about that, and she was just like, if you have it, it's like, you know, you just kind of got to learn to embrace it, you know, because I guess it never really goes away, but it's more just so like, you know, figuring out a way to work around it. But yeah, like I think the first time I heard about it was like from you, like asking a teacher about it, and I was like, what is that? And then like when they described it or something, I was like, oh, so that's what I've been feeling this whole time.
You're like, name.
Yeah.
Stammer.
Yeah.
And yeah, I remember hearing that term and I was like, wow, it's great to hear that I'm not the only person that struggles with this. And yeah, I think it's balancing, because I feel like embracing it is obviously easier said than done, and like just accept it. But also, like, yeah, people that struggle with anxiety and overthinking, like it's really hard to just not think about it. But I think what I try to remind myself is that there, like you being there in the first place, there is a reason why you're there. And I think that, yeah, the devil, not the devil, but like the bad, like the like shit like that, they're the ones saying that like you don't deserve a spot there, comparing yourself to others. And then This other friend that I was talking to, he's also a business student, but he was like, I just never, that doesn't come into my head. And I was like, well, that's nice.
You're like, what is that like?
It's like, because I just know that I'm capable, and even if I'm not, I can always learn and I can always catch up. So I was like, well, that must be nice. But yeah, that's a good way to think about it too. That there's always room to grow. Even if like you're the most deserving person to be in that position, you can always be better. Not saying that you're not good enough, but like, yeah, there's room for growth. But yeah, it's definitely hard to navigate that, especially when you're in like a smaller program, and I think early on in design too, when you don't have community, it's, if you feel so lost. Because yeah, when you talked about Portland Plain, I don't know what the fuck to bring, and I don't know anyone, like I don't know who to ask for help.
Wait, am I supposed to ask for help? Like, am I just supposed to get this? Like, I don't understand.
Especially like when we were first in the program, like it was so competitive and everyone's like, I'm trying to be better than the next person or whatever.
Right.
But I think in a way too, like the whole imposter syndrome, like sometimes I feel it even more like with my friends.
Yeah.
You know, because like it's like we're in this together, but I still feel like you're doing better than I am, and I'm just like, like I don't fit in this group, you know. But I guess like it just, I don't know, it does come in and out, so it's not like a constant thing, but every once in a while I'm like, I get reminded, it's like
Yeah.
you're an imposter. But yeah, I think we're closing in on time, and so it would be good to talk about our songs of the week. Julie, do you want to go first?
I will go first. So my song of the week is by Joey Badass. It's called Love Is Only a Feeling. I found it on my Discover Weekly. So that's my song of the week. I think it's just a nice feel-good summer song. I feel like I've been really looking forward to the summer, but also dreading it because I know that there will be less structure than there is now. But yeah, that's my song of the week.
I love that song. I feel like I remember seeing Joey Badass at, was it Fall Fling, I think, one year?
Mm-hmm.
I was just like, what? Like my world is being blown. I was like, there's no way people like Joey Badass at UW. You know what I mean? Okay, so my song of the week is, I had to look at our playlist because I forgot what it was. It's Don't Judge Me by Janelle Monáe. And honestly, I don't know if the song is necessarily about what I think it's about. But I think, like, I don't know, like, in a way, I feel, especially recently, like, I'm like, oh, like, I am, like, the determining factor of, like, who I become, you know? And so I'm trying to, like, filter out, like, what people might say or, like, the comparisons and all that stuff. And it's just, like, trying to do me. Especially nowadays, you know? Like, when you have so much time to yourself, it's like, well, I might as well just focus on myself.
Oh.
Yeah. Sabrina?
Yeah, so my song is When I Grow Up by Yeji, so it's on her new album. So good. I think, like, Yeji, I got to see her at Capitol Hill Block Party, whatever year that was that she came, and it was just, like, so fun. Everyone was, like, totally shuffling, and I was like, wish I could do that. Do you believe? But yeah, and I think, like, I've been getting more into, or was getting more into electronic music, like, over, like, fall and winter, and just, like, beat heavy music was not really something that used to be in my, like, listening library, I guess, but I really love this song, and it's just so, also in honor of API. She's not Asian American. Is she Asian American? Yeah, she is. New York. But yeah, so just dope song. So much fun to I just want to, like, go outside, like, kind of blast it, but, like, respectfully, and just, like, have a dance party.
Dude, okay, that's what I've been missing the most, is, like, just having fun with other people, you know, like, in a physical space. And especially dancing, like, that's the best part. It's like, I remember when we ran into each other at the Human Condition launch party, and then it was the first one that I went to. So at in Capitol Hill,
Mhm.
and then they were playing like Lemon, and then I remember you going off.
Yes.
Wow,
So good.
so fun.
That was a fun night.
I know.
I think I loved how like it was the first time seeing people like within our cohort that I've newly met like outside of school, and I was like, wow, I was like, I might make more friends now.
I was like, whoa.
And then like running into our TA there was
Oh
kind of
my
interesting. I was like, wow, like this is weird.
What's like the top embarrassing moment for you?
Oh yeah, I remember. I was like,
And I thought I was talking to my church friends, but I was talking to my design friends who that was also their TA.
Listen, sometimes you make a mix up in your head. It just happens.
yeah. But Sabrina, we want to thank you for joining us on the show. I wish we could talk longer. I wish we could talk in person.
Yeah.
Really nice, but yeah, I'm really happy that you kind of got to share everything. And like, I mean, I didn't know a lot of things about this fellow. You're gonna have to show that off one day. You still know how to play?
Huh?
You still know how to play?
I played at first when I got home, and now she's just been laying on my couch outside. But I can kind of still play. Honestly, I was pretty impressed by how much I still knew. I was like, okay.
You're like, okay, I'm kind of going off.
I might bring it to school next year, so we'll see.
It's always nice like playing an instrument, and then you're like, maybe my career choice could have been like.
I was more so like, I can't believe my brain can still do this.
Yeah, I think especially like if you have a good ear too for like other music, then it's like always easier. Not easier, but just like more intuitive, I guess. But yes, anyways, thank you.
Yeah, thank you for having me. This was so much fun. Interacting with other people all the time. Thank you for being patient with my Wi-Fi. What are you gonna do?
It's all right, yeah.
But everyone, thank you for watching, and we hope, as per usual, that you stay safe and healthy and practice social distancing. But yes, we will tune in next week. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.